How y'all doing this late Saturday night, early Saturday morning? This is the early Sunday morning. I'm sorry. This is the Club of the Man, 1993, and we are live for my not first live review of AEW pay per view, my live review of AEW Double or Nothing, which took place tonight, May 23rd, 2020. Was originally supposed to go back to where it all started last year at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas. And even though we couldn't do it, of course, we still did the best we could at Daly's Place in Jacksonville, Florida. And man, boy, was this a fun show. I love this show. It wasn't perfect, trust me. There was one match in particular I can say I did not really enjoy, unfortunately, but they're going to happen. But this show was a lot of fun to watch. We had a good ladder match. We crowned the first ever TNT champion in a good match. I wouldn't say it was as good as I had hoped for it to be, but it was still a good match. We had a great women's match that was basically dedicated to kind of was a big shout out also to the memory of crap, what's hang on, I forgot her name already. Hana Kimura. I'm gonna keep it Hana Kimura. Basically, that was definitely kind of dedicated a little bit more towards her because of her tragic death recently. And but that world title match also talk about that, and that main event, that Stadium Stampede. Jeez, that was nuts, and I thought it was pretty darn good. It was definitely the best match of the night. But we'll get into it and talk about the show. Of course, I had to go back because the order and the prediction of the match is happening wasn't accurate, but we will go from there and we will see what we can get. So first, check the live chat. What's up, Mark? He said he wishes he could have watched. I mean, definitely. I mean, I know, trust me, a lot of it's not easy to, just, pay off for a $50 pay-per-view. Again, like my one friend and I, we share a Bleacher Report account. We just split the cost. So it could be a good idea if another wrestling fan or whatnot to do that. But once again, it's the only problem about these pay-per-views is they are expensive to buy just for one person. Hey, what's up, Elite Squad? Haven't talked to you in a long time. Again, it's good to be back on YouTube, and good to have you in the live chat again. Elite Squad said Spears versus Dustin was bad. Ladder match was sloppy with the crazy spots. Rhodes versus Archer was good. Moxley and Lee was epic. And Mark says, too bad the Statlander and Baker match didn't happen. I was definitely disappointed too as well, but we did get an update somewhat. We're going to get a better update from the role model herself, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, on Wednesday, which I will address what we were told tonight after the match that she was supposed to have happen. But let's get rolling right into it, and we'll talk about this stuff as we go. Again, I thought this was a really great show. Loved it. Actually felt good to watch a very good wrestling match. And again, Elite Squad, again, good to have. Definitely good to be back, man. Again, if you missed my reasons why I was gone, of course, I've already been back since late February, I believe it was. My channel came back. Again, my channel was taken down back in July because of a community guideline strike I had against one of my gaming videos. But of course, I was able to get back on YouTube after 7 months of having my channel not active. So this address that, but of course you can go back and watch the return video if you want. But yeah, it's good to have you back. And also wish Ray Phoenix in the ladder match. Yes, right, Ray Phoenix was also injured, and Nick Jackson was apparently injured as well. That's why he was heavily taped up in the Stadium Stampede match. But let's get rolling because it's 12:40 at night and I'm tired, but I had enough energy to come up here and do this review. So let's roll into it. I did not watch the buy-in, But on the buy-in, we did have Private Parties, Mark Quinn, and Isaiah Cassidy taking on Best Friends, Chuck Taylor and Trent. And Best Friends won, as I thought they would, because they're obviously the obvious number one contenders. Well, they are the higher ranked, and they are going to be challenging Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page of the Elite, the Elite, for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. The thing to mention, though, is that Private Party apparently did do Crime Time's finishing maneuver as an honor for Shad Gaspard, who did pass away this week, as we all know as well. But so that was a good tribute there. But that's pretty high. But again, I didn't watch the match, so I cannot grade it. Best Friends one of those, I imagine. And at some point on Dynamite, within the next few months, they will have a the World Tag Title shot. We haven't had a match for the tag titles, I don't think, since Revolution, when we had the Young Bucks and Omega and Page have that excellent, still in my opinion, my tag match of the year. I'll throw that out there right now. But I don't expect them to win the tag titles off of them. Of course, I have no idea who's going to win the tag titles now. After, of course, the arbitration for the main event was changed, but it was definitely a good way. So yeah, we got Best Friends winning the buy-in match. The opening match on the main card, as I predicted, was indeed the Casino Ladder match. And the winner of this ladder match was the number one contender for the AEW World Title. It will challenge the winner of Jon Moxley versus Brody Lee at a later date. They had the participants enter the match one by one, kind of like the Royal Rumble. Every 2 minutes, they each came out. We started off with Frankie Kazarian and Scorpio Sky, members of SCU. I think it was Kip Sabian was out second, who came out with Jimmy Havoc. Then we had Darby Allin, Orange Cassidy, who came out and just took his good old time getting into the ring, and was just very chill about everything as usual. Colt Cabana came out. Luchasaurus, who I thought could have been a dark horse to win this match for sure. I thought there was a chance. And then there's someone I'm missing, I feel like. Darby Allin. Wait, we had SCU. Oh yeah, Joey Janela, because Joey Janela was the one who replaced Joey Janela replaced Rey Fenix in the match. So he came in at, I think, around 5 or 6, I think it was. One of my favorite spots in the match, though, was definitely when Darby Allin did that dive that jump off the top of the ladder with his skateboard, and he literally went skateboard first through the ladder. I thought that was sick. The mystery entrant was actually Brian Cage. Nice addition to AEW. I thought he went in there, he was pretty dominant. Of course, obviously he came in there and immediately became like the man to win, pretty much. So so they obviously went after him and they tried to bury him underneath a bunch of stuff, including one of the big poker chips that was around the arena as well. It didn't work out as Brian Cage was eventually able to break free and be able to get back into the match, and where he would eventually go on to win it. Of course, he had a nice showdown, I thought, with Luchasaurus. There was, people say that this was a little messy. There was a couple spots, I'll be honest, that was a little bit off. The only botch to me that really stood out, though, was towards the end of the match, whenever it looked like Darby Allin was going to come back in and maybe outdo, what's his face, Brian Cage. And Cage laid Darby on top of the ladder in the turnbuckle. But then, oh yeah, Colt Cabana, was in the match. If I didn't say that, I'm sorry. And surprised how good MJF and Jungle Boy was. And what's up, Tyler, as well. Sorry, I just happened to see the Elite Squad's Colt Cabana thing. Anyways, let me see here. But there was a spot in the end, towards the end, where Brian Cage was setting up that he did this spot where he laid Darby Allin on top of the ladder, picked up the ladder, and threw the ladder and Darby out of the ring while Darby was on top of the ring. It was a nasty bump. But originally, when the first attempt he went to do it, the ladder tipped over and Darby rolled off. So that was not a good looking botch right there. What else was there? There was like one or two other spots I wanted to mention in this match that we saw happen. Orange Cassidy taking people out. I guess what the shades on. Jimmy Havoc and Penelope Ford got involved as well to help out Kip Sabian. There was actually a point wherever Orange Cassidy was climbing the ladder, Penelope Ford came up. She went to slap Orange Cassidy, but she grabbed him and kind of just let her go, and she fell off onto Kip Sabian, who was laying on top of the ladder to break her fall and whatnot. Being a nice gentleman, aren't you there? But eventually, after Brian Cage threw Darby Allin and the ladder out of the ring, he climbed up the ladder and he was able to grab the chip, and he is now the number one contender for the AEW World Championship in just his first match in AEW. Again, it had a couple sloppy spots this match, but I still thought it was a fun opener. It wasn't perfect, but I thought it was fun. Because Darby Allin took a couple nasty bumps. Luchasaurus, I thought, looked great. I thought he could have been like a wild card pick to win this match. And I liked also how they teased, some beatdowns, some like one-on-one moments with Scorpio Sky and Frankie Kazarian as well, who would both have had, opportunities to take on the world champion, whether it was Scorpio Sky taking on Chris Jericho, actually the first person to pin Chris Jericho in AEW, and Frankie Kazarian just last week took on Jon Moxley, which I thought was a really good match that they gave, 2 weeks ago. Still, fun stuff. I enjoyed this opening match, and yeah, so that was still pretty awesome. So let's move on to now the next match on the card. Was also a pretty good match. I feel like I got what I wanted out of this match. MJF taking on Jungle Boy Jack Perry. I was my expectation with this match was going to be something similar to Pac and Orange Cassidy at Revolution. And I feel that's what we got. Jack Perry put on a very good match against MJF, who was showing his great psychology throughout this match several times, faking a couple injuries, just so trick up Jack Perry to thinking that he had gotten and whatnot. Of course, the one spot I still don't understand how MJF was still alive was when Jack Perry did that Canadian Destroyer on him on the apron, and MJF just laid into the on the floor with this dead look in his eyes, like, what? But I think he definitely made Jungle Boy Jack Perry look like $1 million in this match. He made him look great. I mean, Perry lost, but he was booked the way he needed to. He needed to look strong, he needed to look dominate, look like he actually could have beaten MJF. There were several times where I thought he was about to beat MJF. There was a time he had MJF in the crossface, but unfortunately, MJF had targeted the shoulder a lot on his arm, so MJF was unable to continue. Was able to break out of the crossface. He definitely pushed MJF to the limit. MJF came up eventually with a win with a sliding roll up and whatnot, because he's the best at being an ass, and you know it. But MJF won, and again, I still think probably at All Out, because they advertised, I think he's probably going to dethrone Moxley at All Out. I think it's ready to happen. Again, I still don't get how he went from, feuding with Cody Rhodes to, not even gloating over the fact that he pinned Cody, the guy who he made his life miserable for, how many months, and now it's the feud never happened, which I still find very weird that they did that. But felt the right person won this match, and we'll see if MJF gets a shot at for the world title at All Out on September 5th. We'll have to wait and see. So that was that match. The next match was the match that I predicted actually to be the main event of this pay-per-view, because I felt this was the best built match, had the most hype behind it, and that was probably the match I was most excited about, which is why I did live reactions. Cody Rhodes versus Lance Archer in the TNT Championship Tournament Finals. And of course, Arn Anderson in Cody Rhodes' corner, Jake Roberts in in Lance Archer's corner. And of course, Mike Tyson was out there to present the winner with the TNT Championship belt. Now, as far as the belt goes, the design's alright. It's not great, but it's alright. But apparently the reason why it looks the way it does right now is because of the virus, they didn't get to finish it. So apparently we are going to be getting a finished product. So Cody's just holding, gave away the winner already. The winner is just holding a temporary belt for now, basically, pretty much. The match was good. I wouldn't say it was quite as good as I had hoped for. I was expecting some action happening outside the ring, besides the fact that, Jake Roberts and Arn Anderson just randomly got ejected from ringside. I mean, obviously the referee came out to tattle basically on Arn Anderson, but we also had Jake Roberts get kicked out as well. And then I got distracted for a second. I'm sorry. But then Jake Roberts tried to come back out, but Mike Tyson was like, "Oh no, stay away from this match. I know what you're up to." Lance Archer had a couple great, strong moments in there. Cody had a lot of great counters back. The thing that kind of disappointed me about this match, though, is that they exposed the turnbuckle and they exposed the hardwood floor. But all we got for the exposed turnbuckle was Archer running into it chest first, which barely does anything. And then they never used the exposed concrete from the mat below, which I'm surprised they didn't do that. Cody, though, had a battle, of course, to keep Archer out. He eventually wins by hitting 2 crossroads on him in a row after he hit one earlier and Archer kicked out. I just felt like this match was good, but again, I didn't feel like it had like that big, anticlimactic ending I felt it needed with how big, this was built around. Of course, we are getting a Battle Royal this coming week on a Dynamite to determine who will be the number 1 contender. Maybe Archer will get in and get a rematch, maybe? I don't know, because I really thought that Archer was going to win this, but Cody winning it is fine. I mean, come on, Cody has lost, he lost the World Championship match against Jericho, he lost to MJF, and of course he earned his way to this tournament. At some point with him, doing all the work he has done to get this company going, I think he definitely at some point deserves some type of title, but I felt Lance Archer should have won this still. But it was still good to me. I thought it was a good match. It wasn't as good as I hoped. But we have Cody Rhodes as your first ever TNT champion. And actually, because I thought it was before the match, but it was after the match and before the next match, we actually had an update on Dr. Britt Baker DMD and her injury. Apparently, Baker has fractured her tibia and tore her LCL in her right knee. So, someone looked that up. Really, apparently, if it's what it is, she may only be missing about like 4 or 5 weeks of action rather than 6 to 9 months. We usually thought with the torn ACL. But being the role model she is, Dr. Britt Baker is going to address when she will be back this coming Wednesday. So, we'll have to wait till then to hear from Britt. The next match was supposed to be the match Britt Baker was supposed to be in, but instead she was replaced by Penelope Ford, taking on Chris Statlander. Decent match. Definitely would have been better if Britt was in this match instead of Penelope Ford. Penelope's hot, don't get me wrong, but I think she's still kind of green. Chris Statlander gets with the win, which I thought they would give it to Penelope Ford because I expected this to be the match to put over Dr. Britt Baker. But of course, since Baker was not in the match, they put over Statlander instead. Kind of making this match a little bit pointless, but it was what it was pretty much for the card. Again, Statlander comes across with the win. Before we move on to the next match, let's check the live chat again since we're about halfway through and see what we got here. Tyler says, I wish this should have been in the MGM Grand Garden Arena. I definitely agree, but at least the people we had sitting in for a crowd was awesome tonight for sure. And Moxley is still champ. We know we're going to get to that in a little bit, but that's why we got a live chat. Next match was the only match I didn't like on this show. So, throughout the night, they're hyped up the fact that Dustin Rhodes wasn't there. And that he may not show up. Because we had not seen Dustin Rhodes since he got beat down by Lance Archer in their TNT Championship semifinals match. So, out of the blue, Shawn Spears is taking shots at Dustin Rhodes, even though he's supposed to take more shots at Cody Rhodes rather than um, Dustin. It was weird. I felt like more sort of building for another match between Cody and Spears, but it was just Dustin and Spears. So Dustin's music plays, but then Spears pretty much pulled a Shawn Michaels on Bret Hart from 1997 or wherever it was, and he's not here, so he tells the referee to start the match and basically have count out Dustin Rhodes. But then at only count of 2 or 3, Brandy came out and then Dustin came from behind and attacked Spears, and they had the match. It was weird. It looked more like... It made me kind of think of in 2012, there was a tuxedo match between Santino Marella and Ricardo Rodriguez, where basically the winner had to, rip off the other person's clothes. And Spears was like an idiot in this match. They ripped off his dress shirt, his pants. They actually kind of slightly pulled down his underwear to expose his rear end. They had a photo of Tully Blanchard's face on the front of Spears' underwear as well. It was very hokey. Like, definitely something more on a WWE level as far as, bad comedy and whatnot. Because this wasn't funny. I mean, I get what they were trying to do. Create that doubt that, maybe Dustin Rhodes is done and someone, basically just bullies him about it. Shawn Spears was not the right person for that job, to look like an idiot like this. Like, get somebody else out there instead to look like the idiot. Not Shawn Spears. This match didn't do much for me at all. It's the only match I didn't like on this show. So, yeah. Dustin Rhodes wins, and we're going to move on to the next match, which, again, this obviously felt like, a match that obviously was dedicated to, if I can remember her name again, Hana Kimura, who was found dead earlier today or yesterday, whenever it was, and apparently they think she took her own life because of cyberbullying, which, once again, don't use social media to be bullies. Spread cheer and whatnot. Don't take advantage of it. But it was a no DQ match between Nyla Rose and Hikaru Shida. Thought it was an awesome match. I thought Nyla Rose did pretty well, being the big woman. Hikaru Shida was like the great underdog, battling back and whatnot, which she looked pretty good tonight, gotta say. Not just in the ring, but her appearance as well, won't deny. This match did brawl a little bit outside of the ring, and into the what's it called, the stands a little bit. There was a lot use of the kendo stick in this match. Although I also don't want to compare her to Nia Jax, but Nyla Rose had an awkward sounding cry whenever she got hit with the kendo stick. She's like, "Ah!" or something like that. It was kind of weird, but there was a couple times, though, I thought that Shida didn't really, sell the best. But I think she still did great. Had definitely one of the best performances of her career so far. And eventually she was able to get Nyla Rose down and become the new AEW Women's World Champion. So obviously seeing that, I'm pretty sure the original plan was for Shida to basically kind of be a transitional champion. That way Britt Baker didn't have to face another heel in Nyla Rose. But Rose going to get that now, since Britt's probably going to be out maybe for a little bit, so we'll have to wait and see. But excellent match, definitely one of the stronger matches on the card for sure tonight. Next match was another match that was excellent. Jon Moxley, the real AEW World Champion, taking on the self-proclaimed AEW World Champion in Brody Lee. Excellent match. These two did have a series of matches in 2015 in WWE. Several street fights and whatnot. These two obviously had great chemistry, and I saw it in this match as well. It was physical. It was hard hitting. For the first half of this match, when I saw it, I'm thinking, if some of these aspects were kind of used in the match that Moxley had with Jake Hager a few weeks ago, I probably would like that match a little bit better. But they took this to a whole nother level because not only was people area getting power bombed through tables, but my favorite spot was towards the end. These two were brawling on the ramp. Moxley went for the paradigm shift, and he basically sent Brody Lee and himself through the floor. And obviously, I'm like, oh my goodness, what the heck are they gonna literally like call this match off? I was like, hopefully that wasn't an accident or something like that. But then the way it was shot, both Moxley and Brody Lee kind of like rose from the dead and finished the match. It actually took, well, the way I also liked about it was the finish, because Moxley had Brody Lee like 2 or 3 of the paradigm shifts. It wasn't working, and of course with Brody Lee already shaken up from the bloody face, they had Moxley literally put Brody into a chokehold, and Brody Lee passed out. So Moxley pretty much won by knockout, and I thought it was great. I watched this match, and I just saw how awesome Brody Lee is, and I'm like, Vince, you really missed out on a big talent. I mean, I get it, the Dark Order still seems a little pointless for him because, there's just a bunch of goons, no one's going to take him taken seriously, but man, like, this, I think he still has done an excellent job since coming over to AEW. And someday he will be world champion, but this just was not his time. But I felt that Moxley was able to make Brody Lee look like an awesome wrestler, a very strong, credible talent for sure, and it was great. But was the best thing on the show tonight was this main event. The Elite versus the Inner Circle inside of it was basically considered a stadium stampede match, and it was awesome. They had each of the superstars come out on each end of the football field, introduced basically as their football players, which I thought was cool. They began to brawl in the fields and whatnot. They eventually, some of them made their ways inside, the stadium, into the stands, to the concession areas, to the bars, to everywhere we want to mention. Hangman Adam Page chased Sammy Guevara with a horse. He was not able to find Sammy, but he eventually went to a bar where he ended up getting drinks with Jake Hager before they started brawling. And Kenny Omega came in to help out, and they had some whiskey flavored milk afterwards. What else was happening in this match? A lot happened. Sammy also got chased by a golf cart again. I'd say the moment that I really got into this match, though, was the moments wherever Matt Hardy was brawling with Santana and Ortiz by the pool. And they kept shoving like Matt underneath, and he kept peeking up and had like different versions of himself, different gimmicks that he had been doing throughout the years. So I thought it was cool. Of course, Hardy was the first person to take out members of the Inner Circle, as I think Ortiz or Santana, one of the two, was taped to a chair of wheels. The other one was thrown into an ice bucket that was locked, and so they got rid of those two. Again, Hager got taken out by Omega and Page at the bar. And Jericho spent most of the match outside on the field. I know he had brought Floyd along to help him out, but it was no luck, as, he did throw one of the Bucks into the mouth of the Jaguars player. He hit the Jaguars mascot with the Judas effect, which I thought was quite priceless. And eventually, the Elite just double teamed him and took him out, and everyone else. And then afterwards, Hangman and Page took like the chalk liner and just did right over Jericho, which I thought was quite funny. There was also a spot where it was before basically everybody started splitting up and going to different parts of the stadium. But one of the Young Bucks did a freaking moonsault off of the top of the goal post, which I thought was pretty cool as well. What else am I missing? And of course, again, Sammy Guevara went running away, trying to avoid being run over by a horse. But then eventually, when he came free, he was They had one of the young bucks do, those like suplexes all the way 100 yards across the field. He was basically doomed outdoors, but when he was basically the last one remaining, the last hope for the inner circle, Sammy Guevara had had been knocked out by sprinklers. He was getting sprayed by sprinklers that like woke him up. But then Hardy and Omega chased him with a golf cart. They eventually got up to the top of somewhere where Omega was able to trap him, and he hit Sammy Guevara with an avalanche, one wing, one wing or whatever heck it's called, through the table from like several feet up in the air, and the Elite win the match. It was very fun. Again, some very fun spots, a lot of storytelling, a lot of symbolism, especially from Matt Hardy. Especially in the 3-foot pole that one of the members of Powerful claimed they could not swim. But if there's definitely one match to check out for the show, definitely this one. It was awesome. I loved it. And we'll see what happens with these 10. That's going to do it for my review, guys, of Double or Nothing. Let me check the live chat before I go off the air. I'm getting tired, so I'm going to check out here. He wants that 10 storylines that the wrong person won. Again, I'll try to do a top 10 soon, but again, I'm tired, and I have a busy schedule. Paradigm shift through the floor, and then both came back and both looked strong for sure. Again, it was basically one of those moments where it's like, Vince, how did you pass up on Brody Lee? And yeah, it's been a year since Moxley came to AEW. Best debut ever. Again, it all began 1 year ago, and look where he is a year later. It is awesome stuff. But if I had to give this show a grade, I gave it an A-. Thought it was a great show. Yeah, I didn't like the match with Dustin Rhodes and Shawn Spears. The match with Cody and Archer was good, but not as good as I had hoped for. Of course, we didn't have Britt Baker in a match with Chris Statlander. They still put on a decent match, and there was a couple sloppy spots in the ladder match, I know. But still, overall, excellent show. Great storytelling, top to bottom. And I loved it. Definitely my best show of the year so far, I gotta say. This show was awesome. I loved it. If you haven't watched it, go back and watch it. Especially that Stadium Stampede match, for sure. That's going to do it, guys. I'm tired, but I may be back up here tomorrow because I did get to watch Dark Side of the Ring with Owen Hart. I kind of want to get my thoughts on that, so we'll see when I do that. And then I finished my Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire Let's Play. I will start Order of the Phoenix maybe late next week or the week after that. Depends on what I do, because there's other stuff away from YouTube I want to get done as well. But yeah, so again, as I say, guys, just be patient with me, as my schedules is much more busier these days than they were, last July. But yep, that's gonna do it, guys. What are your thoughts on Double or Nothing? Gave it an A-. What grade would you give it? What was your match tonight? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. And be sure as always to slap a like on the video, subscribe more content to my channel, and follow me on Twitter at DemandAirboy93. So until then, guys, I am out. Have a great rest of your night, and peace out, everybody.